about us, Virginia. I know.
I'm Christina.
I'm Kendall.
We love talking about movies.
We like them weird and unconventional.
Offbeat and underrated cinema with cult charm.
And now we're going to share a conversation with you.
We're the Psychotronic Sisters.
Come into my den, said the spider, etc.
So, Kendall, last time we were talking in our discussion of Luigi Montefiore, aka George Eastman, we discussed the movie Rabid Dogs, which was directed by both of our favorite director, one of our favorites, Mario Bava.
Yes.
And at that point, that movie had come after maybe some failures. I don't know what you can call failures, but in his view, he was kind of at a low point when he had made Rabid Dogs. That was 1974. Now, for this one that we're talking about in this episode, we're going to go back to almost the beginning of his career to 1961. Black Sunday had just come out and hit very big. The producer that he had worked with previous to Steve Reeves' Hercules movies already has Bava right there to work with. So
yeah,
he puts him on his first film in color as a credited director, Hercules in the Haunted World, also known as Vampires versus Hercules, Hercules against the Vampires, Vampires in the Center of the Earth, because there was a movie that was popular at that time about the journey to the center of the earth. So it's interesting to think where he was at this point in his career, right at the beginning, and why you think that this is a very good film to talk about where he was going to end up and what kind of influence he would have in film.
Yeah, it's really the start of his vibe, for lack of a better word, because it's that spooky gothic feeling, which you don't really see in Peplum. This was kind of the start of him trying to do horror and Peplum together, and it didn't go super far. I mean, I guess there was something like the Witch's Curse, Macisti against the vampire. They tried, but
Mhm.
but it did launch his style, which is that feeling and kind of the attractive people, coexisting
Mhm.
in a very frightening world. And
Mhm.
then most of all, just the beautiful look of
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
movies, the strong individual colors lighting people in dark places, which this is where Blood and Black Lace kind of came from. And
Mhm.
and part of it is just that he came from this special effects, cinematography, and his
Mhm.
father was a cameraman and special effects artist in the silent area. So this is like a long, process getting him to this point where it's so masterfully done and so visually beautiful.
He's taking it's something that he would do throughout his career where he ends up kind of either being like a mashup of different things or a link in the chain between different things. Like in this case specifically, you have the Peplum, which was then it was just gaining steam because of all the start. If you want to look at it, starting with all the U.S. movies like Ben-Hur and Ten Commandments and the biblical epics and things, and the Italians were going to be doing it. This is 61, so they were doing it for another maybe 4 or 5 years before they ended up in spaghetti westerns and those types of things. And again, like Bava is guiding them into another road, down another road eventually. But it's interesting here he puts the Peplum and he mixes it with Gothic. So he's taking it like a step beyond exploitation. It's not just exploitation, let's make a Peplum. He's doing something totally interesting with it.
Yeah. No, he loved his Gothic. Like you said something interesting about how you'd seen a critic call him the genre maker
Yeah, that's right. And
because
it's
he's
so
so
true.
influential. Yeah. Yeah, like The Girl Who Knew Too Much is basically the first giallo.
Hmm.
Uh, and you could say that Black Sabbath and Blood and Black Lace were the start of a certain modern Gothic horror.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then Planet of the Vampires, which, was compared to Alien a lot.
very,
It
yeah,
was kind of the start of a horror sci-fi hybrid thing. And Bay of Blood is kind of slasher,
right.
very first not the first, but a very influential slasher. And then
Right.
you've got stuff like Danger Diabolik where he manages to put a little edge in there.
Yeah, the Euro spy. Then, like we talked about, if anyone wants to go back to the episode we did on reflection in a dead diamond, we talked a lot about the Euro spy, tropes and looks, and a lot of that came from him.
Yeah. And it's interesting because what the filmmakers got there was how that was connected to horror because they have giallo and the Euro
Hmm.
spy
Hmm.
connected so closely in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
that is Bava.
J-horror had some influence from him as well. And if we look at this movie, the Hercules movie, we'll go more into this, but it's since it is a mix of the gothic and a little bit of horror thrown in, you can actually it looks forward to the sword and sorcery movies like Conan or Beastmaster or Excalibur and those types of things. So,
Right, right. And it's just so funny to me that this all comes from a very shy man,
yeah.
very humble man. Like, apparently there was a lot of things he didn't do because he just couldn't put himself out there. Like Hollywood, he might have liked to, but he just was too shy and reluctant to chase the opportunities that were there for him.
Right.
He was just this quiet craftsman. I don't feel like there's anything lacking in this career. He's done plenty, but it's interesting to think what he could have done in Hollywood. I don't know. Would
Yeah.
do you think that maybe they were a little too puritanical for him, that maybe he needed more of the freedom? I don't know. What do you think?
Probably. I mean, yeah, some of the things that I'm looking back to last episode in Rabid Dogs, I mean that you wonder where that would have taken him if it had come out in 74 because it didn't come out
Yeah,
until 20 years later. So that maybe he would have influenced a whole other thing because that's a totally unique kind of a lost masterpiece. So I don't know, but it was counting that one and some of the other ones that he was doing that I think it was too much. It was too for your general public and in the States probably. I think they would not appreciate him until probably much later.
I agree. Okay, the last thing he did was Shock, and that one was a more modern horror, like
Hmm.
more intense. So you could see him also going deeper into horror like that. And I love that his son kind of took it to the next
Yeah,
level. Lamberto and his demons. His son took it to a gooier level, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
And like I said, for good or ill, he seems very devoted to promoting his father's legacy and preserving it.
Yeah. And yeah, and even like he did with Rabid Dogs, working on it and trying to bring it to,
Yeah,
to what he would have intended.
it's just funny how it's a family business.
Mm,
Grandfather, father, and
yeah.
son. The thing that I didn't know before reading up for this film was that he was only 65 when he died. He'd actually just
Hmm.
gone to the doctor, had a clear bill of health, but he just died abruptly of a heart attack.
So
So,
young, yeah.
yeah,
Relatively young.
relatively young. And to think that he did all of this,
Hmm.
I mean, it was so influential in such a short period of time. I know that everybody loves Bava. I know that you can't, I won't even list the directors that were influenced. I mean, John Wick,
Yeah.
certain installments don't exist without Bava's influence, right?
Hmm.
It's almost literally everyone. And he did this in such a short amount of time. The genius of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that word actually applies here. And I think it rarely applies well, but here it does.
Hmm.
And I do, looking at the list of things that he's done, it's like, yeah, this is one of my favorite directors because if you're watching the movies over and over again, I could watch Planet of the Vampires or Danger
Yeah.
Diabolic anytime, anytime.
Yeah.
But the thing about this movie, I haven't been a huge Peplum fan. I've kind of gotten a little more into it. I can appreciate that there's a
Same.
little more variety in there than I realized, and that's kind of a recent thing. But this one, I was just shocked. And the reason I
Hmm.
watched it was because there was a YouTube thumbnail that had some colors in it that I was like, what? That looks like Bava. And then,
Right. Lo and behold, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't have this great, unique plot. It's definitely like, do this and get this, and then you
Hmm.
will get your goal. It's very
Quests,
questy. Yeah,
questy and side questy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it kind of has a little bit of the
Do you
just
want
a
to?
beefy guy. Yeah,
Yeah, beefcake. Well, if shall we do I can do a summary of the plot.
yeah,
I tried to condense it because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, like we said, questing. You have Hercules played by Reg Park, who was a three-time Mr. Universe, and later a huge influence and good friend of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He didn't make too many movies, 6 movies, five of them peplums. So he's playing Hercules, and his beloved Deianira soul has been imprisoned and hypnotically enslaved and fated for the vampiric sort of leader, Liko, played by Christopher Lee. So now Medea, we have Medea in this one, which is we'll come back to her. She's one of the most visually impressive scenes involving her. She tells Hercules he can save Deianira with the stone of Pluto, which is in Hades, but to get in and out of Hades safely, he first has to get the golden apple of Hesperides. And away we go. And so on the way there and back, where there's all kinds of trials and labors that befitting a hero like Hercules. And there are trees and vines that cut and bleed because they contain the souls of the damned.
It's wild.
There's like a big rock monster who wants to stretch out your body or squish it and make it smaller. There's the lake of lava. The floor is lava. And he also has with him his sidekick and buddy Theseus, who is played by Giorgio Artisan. And then they have also another Franco Giacobini as Telemachus, who is not supposed to be that much of a comic relief as he is in this movie. This character is going to be played in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey by
Oh,
Tom
really?
Holland. By Tom Holland, yeah.
So he's in it,
Same
but also it's
character.
Tom
Yeah.
Holland. Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on. At the very end, there's an army of the undead who's rising from graves and flying zombies and all this stuff. So it's not your usual peplum, like you said.
Just always seems to be some sort of a zombie, doesn't there? Like they just throw them in anything.
It's like cheese. Everything's better with zombies.
I guess so. It's so funny how it's like Hercules is this dumb man, but they're like telling him, you got to do this, you got to do that. I mean, I would be furiously typing into my notes app. He's just sitting
Yeah,
there like, okay, got
no
it.
problem.
And he just does one thing at a time and he remembers it all. I'm like, is he such a himbo that he's catching all these details and not doing anything wrong? Like,
No.
tell me he isn't brilliant here. But Reg
Yeah.
Park, he really was all about bodybuilding.
Yeah.
That was what he cared about. And, like you said, he was really influential with Schwarzenegger. So it's impressive to me that he is not a bad actor.
No, he's really charming.
Yeah, he's got presence. I mean, this isn't meant to be a heavy lift, this role, but
Heavy
how
lift.
could
I
he,
see what you did.
God, I'm hilarious. No, but could he have done it better? Can you think of any way
No,
he
he's
could have done it
great.
better?
He's
He does a
really
good
charming
job.
and pleasant. Yeah, and he has
Yeah.
he's really pleasant, and so is the other actor who plays Theseus, his buddy.
Yeah, and
They're
he
really
was a
good.
busy guy. I mean, he did a
Hmm.
peplum, spy films, westerns, horror, just to name a genre in this. And he was just one of those very cute, charismatic guys that could just plug himself into any role. Yeah,
Right.
and they're good together too.
Yeah.
A- And then you've got Christopher Lee. Is that a terrible wig or a terrible hairstyle?
Yeah, it
The
is.
hair
And
helmet? I don't.
yeah,
Oh,
it's like I saw someone describe it somewhere as Lego hair. It's like click on.
it's exactly that. It makes me think about No Country for Old Men, Javier Bardem. Like
Yes.
he's like that hairstyle. I just couldn't get laid. He was joking. I'm pretty sure he was with Penelope Cruz at the time, but he's just like that was awful, and that was my real hair. And I just
Mhm.
kept thinking about that, looking at Christopher Lee, like it's the same hair. Like, why would they
Right.
do that to a head? Like, it almost makes it not look like him. It's so funky.
Yeah. And it definitely doesn't sound like him because
It's
I
also
mean
funky.
it was the norm in Italian film to not record the sound anyway, but by the
Yeah.
time they got around to dubbing it, he was busy. I think he was already on Pirates of Blood Island, I think is the name of it. He was already on the next project, and so he wasn't even there to it doesn't even sound like him at all. He's because he wasn't there.
Yeah, all the things that make him great are kind of
Yeah.
like there for like his manner, the sense of menace. It's all great, but it's like there's a little cloak, a little bit of gauze over it because of all these weird elements, right?
Right.
But yeah, but he does his thing as he always does. Has he ever been bad? He's one of those actors.
No,
It
that's right.
doesn't matter what he does. Yeah.
And
I
he's
kind
good at being evil, which is what he is here. He's
Yeah.
supposed to be like a vampire type of thing, or like an undead or something, because he dissolves in the sun, in the sunlight at the end. So, which is not, like
Yeah,
I said, not your usual Peplum stuff, which is like sunny, hot, daylight, beach sand stuff type of thing. And here is like ruins and monsters and
it's like a 1970s satanic movie deal
yeah, yeah.
more than anything else. Yeah, make a deal with the devil. I just found the idea of this Diana, her mind being gone and
Hmm.
the way she talks, it made me think so much of mental illness
Hmm.
and how that can take a loved one away. I
Yeah.
don't know if that was intended at all, but I was really feeling that. Also, just addiction, like
Hmm.
drug addiction, how the person's body is there, but their mind is just in a completely different place. The heartbreak of that, of not
Hmm.
understanding how this person, you can't connect with them because their mind is just working in a completely different way. That was one of the things that made me think that Reg Park did pretty well because you really see the confusion,
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
heartbreak, the frustration,
Yeah.
just how he's trying to process all of this and how he will do anything to change it, how it's almost impossible to do.
Yeah, that's well, yeah, and that's kind of like an allegory for that because all these things that he's supposed to do seem like impossibilities, and it's like a never-ending chain of things that oh, first you have to do this. Oh, but before that you have to do this. And before that, remember to do the other thing. And it's like
Yeah,
it's like you can never get to the end. It's almost you have to be, almost not a human to get there.
yeah. And he never doubts he can do it, which, you know,
Hmm.
pretty inspiring, right? But it's just interesting because it's like the brain is this complex, mysterious thing, but he has to deal with the real world, which
Yeah.
is
And
kind of
there's a
hard and
he,
frustrating and has weird hoops you have to jump through and
Well, and there's you just triggered there's he's told by somebody in Hades to when he's doing the challenges to not believe what he's seeing, that it's illusory, and that he should believe what he knows to be true in his heart instead, and that gets him out of I think like two different situations, is to go with what he knows and not what he thinks is he's seeing.
yeah, which is an interesting thing to hear in an age where we're kind of
Hmm.
constantly trying to figure out what's real
Right.
and feeling manipulated. Yeah, I really felt this on a different level seeing this recently compared to a few years ago, the first time.
Hmm. Yeah.
It,
There's
there's more to it than I thought, really. I
yeah
don't know
for
that this is intended. They're just telling a story, right? But people put things into things without knowing it sometimes.
Yeah, he did a lot. He did a lot of adding because he wasn't happy with the script as he got it. So a lot of it was him. He was multitasking on this one for sure because he was not only the director and the DP, he was doing the lighting, he was doing all the effects, he was the effects director, and then he rewrote a lot of the script, or just kind of made it up as they went along.
And the look of it is definitely one of the best
Yeah.
parts, if not the
Oh, the
best
look.
parts. Yeah, yeah.
You can do like a whole another hour just about the look. The color, like you said before, the colors are his signature, those kind of deep, rich jewel colors, like the deep blues and the purple and green and the blood red. And then the complementary colors. Oh, they're so, thank you, art class, for anybody for anybody who doesn't know, the complementary ones are the ones across each other from on the color wheel. And when you put them side by side, they really make both of the colors pop. So in this case, you have the green and the red together, right? Or the blue and the orange flame in front of a deep blue background and stuff. And it's gorgeous. It works really well when you or like purple and yellow or something, and he really makes the most of it. It's not Technicolor, which I've read in some places. It was I think it was called Total Color. It was Total Color, and but he had the film processed as if it was Technicolor, so it would be processed with layers of
Oh,
color each time, which made them super rich and vivid. And sometimes you get the vaporwave colors, like the pinks and the blues together too, which is
yeah.
nice.
I mean, compare this to Fulci's Underworld, right? This
Hmm.
gray, bland place. Like, it's actually
Yeah,
kind of beautiful,
it
but like
is.
sensual in the underworld. You kind of wonder what they're saying with all this
Yeah.
because it has a certain lushness that you would never ever see in a movie
Hmm.
Underworld.
Right. Or this kind of movie in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
Because there's two things that, for the sake of time to focus on that I loved was when he goes to see Medea and there's like she's sitting there. He recycled a lot of the sets and props from other films. Like the mask that she's wearing was apparently from La Dolce Vita.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, and she's like sitting in front of like a reflecting pool type thing, and the colors there is just I took a screenshot because it was so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the other one is when they're on the ship going to across the sea to find Hades, and the sky has these dark clouds, red and black and navy
Yeah.
blue.
Like
As
smoke.
yeah, like well, the way they did it was in a like a they used a split screen and double exposure on some places, and in a pool of little bucket of water or something, they were making clouds of dye. So
Oh,
that's how they
wow.
got that done. Yeah. Or he did like effects with mirrors where he would reflect a miniature set and then you would scrape away the silver and just enough to show a person against the reflection of the miniature and stuff. I really went into reading on all the different effects.
I just that practical
Hmm.
effect.
In the
You
camera.
feel it. It feels real.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
sky and those billowing clouds. You can't create that. It has to be tactile.
Or the lake of lava, that was cornmeal.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was polenta because polenta can really get to a nice plop. It plops and
Yeah.
flops and bubbles, and they use that.
I mean, that just seems so much more fun, doesn't it, than
Hmm.
programming it? And I mean, it's amazing what can be programmed and done. I'm not down on that, but I do think that practical effects are key to a real feeling. And
Yeah.
that is something you crave in an unreal world. You want
Hmm.
something to ground it, or it's just going to fly away on you.
Yeah, it has
It'll
weight
mean
to it.
nothing. Yeah, it has
Yeah.
weight to it. Yeah, and I think that's definitely what they accomplish here, this really spooky, otherworldly feeling, but those feel like real menacing clouds.
Mhm.
And just the colors and everything do feel like they came out of the earth, you know,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
alien breath from the depths or something. It's really in the bones, sort of. So
Yeah, and it's eerie, and it's even more impressive when you think that he did the movie in about 3 weeks
I just can't believe
on a
that.
super low budget.
I mean, you can tell it's very set bound. You can tell that lights are doing a lot of heavy lifting, but
Yeah.
it's just wild to think the effect they got. And there's some wild things. Like you said, the what is it? The reeds?
Yeah, the vines with the blood of this
Yeah.
trapped souls. Yeah.
So they cut these vines and there's
Yeah.
moans and screams
Yeah.
and blood sporting
Oh.
out. I mean, this is not your typical peplum at all.
No.
But you see where the rest of Bava comes from, right?
Right, exactly.
And then the rock creature. Oh God, this
Yeah.
thing is goofy. This
That
big
is goofy,
creature made
yeah.
out of rocks. He's walking around and he talks like this. And Hercules' traveling companions are on these beds.
Hmm.
One is on
Hmm.
one that's too short for him, and one is one that he's too long for it. So
Hmm.
he comes up, he's like, "You're too short for this bed. I'm going to stretch you." He says it like this.
Yeah, yeah.
In this
And
movie
that's
where they're like
yeah.
serious and everything, this goofy ass character comes in. And
And that could have been more serious because in mythology, that is a terrifying character, Procrustes. He's not goofy like this at all. He's actually does that. And it should have been done, more, aligning with the way he's presented in mythology. It would have been a lot scarier that way.
but this is what makes this movie so great. It's
Yeah.
just all these little things. Like some of it is kind of silly, some of it is kind of spooky. The way they deal with blood and death is a little bit like horror, but then they've got the most
Hmm.
beautiful things too. Like I agree with you that the scene with the Oracle, Medea, it is one of the most beautiful scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And
Hmm.
that's not what you think about when you think about a Hercules movie. When you think about Peplum,
No, right.
you don't
It
think,
goes
yeah,
beyond. It goes way beyond like what it should be.
yeah. And it's just interesting to me that so much of it is just Bava couldn't help but be this way.
Hmm.
Like you could tell this was just him. Like this is how he saw the world and he was very good at sharing it. And I just think that's amazing.
The movie ends up with an amazing sequence of the army of the dead rising up from graves really slowly, arms, and he's looking around and watching them rise up and crawl out, and then they start attacking him. So it's like wire work, and they're swinging back and forth. And
Yeah.
I loved this is 1961, and so Plague of the Zombies is pretty far away from Hammer. That's in 66. Night of the Living Dead, of course, 68. I saw a movie not too long ago called Invisible Invaders, and that's 1959, and it has very Romero looking zombies. So I'm not going to say this is like the first. This is pretty early though in this style of zombie, with the rags and the the rotting faces and everything. So
Yeah.
that's nice. I enjoyed that part. I like seeing zombies and tracking how they turned into the zombies, the Romero style from the old style, if you're going back to the 30s and so on. I like tracking the changes and where they shift into
Yeah.
that. So that's a link that I like. Another link that this if you just go through Christopher Lee, he's a link in the chain between this and the Hammer horror and the horror genre, and um, between Bava's work and the look of the Hammer horror films, that's all happening around these same 2 or 3 years. Uh, and there was there in that Mario Bava genre maker video. It's on YouTube, but we can always link to it in the notes
Hmm.
or whatever. But there's a really interesting, preamble where they go through how Italians had tried to do horror quite a few years earlier, and it didn't really catch on. Of course, it was partly suppressed with, Mussolini and the fascist years and the post-war years and sometime after. And so when Hammer starts doing the really rich, colorful Gothic horror, Bava was in in love with that and says, yes, we're going to go in that direction. So you have all these connections, with Christopher Lee and Bava and this movie and where they were coming from and where they're going.
Yeah. I love the way influence works. How it's
Mm,
not linear, how it's just all these little darts flying all over the place. It's really what makes movies so exciting, right? Because then it makes you want to see this title or this actor or
yes.
this director, and you keep yourself busy for a long time with all this. So yeah,
Mm,
that's great. So before we go, do want to point out that Ida Valli is in this as well. She's Persephone,
mhm.
and just I love this actress because, like in the Peplum movie, she's very much an innocent person, and in giallo, she was much more the dangerous other woman, or like in
Yeah.
Queens of Evil,
Yeah.
kind of this deadpan witch vibe. I love that she holds both of those, feelings
Right.
so well. Like the cheekbones spell danger, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
As innocent as she might look. And I just think it's so interesting that even in this role where she's not really meant to do too much, she's still so striking and so
Hmm.
interesting.
And memorable.
Yeah, really
And she
memorable.
her and Bava and Lee again are together in The Whip and the Body.
Yeah. Another one that's just unique
Hmm.
in the way that it's made, the story. Bava didn't just start genres, he built on ideas in a way
Hmm.
it wasn't like what anyone else was doing. He there were some that they didn't go anywhere else because it was just him.
Right. It was his synthesis, the way he was he's like the prism through which, he's filtering all these different ideas and influences, and it comes out like a new shaft of light.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting that it's this humble, shy, sweet guy
Hmm.
who, might
Yeah,
be quiet on the
modest.
surface, but then inside his head,
Hmm.
there were all these things going on, all these creations, and he must have had a very good time inside his head, is all I gotta say. Like,
If it looked like the movies, wow, then yeah.
yeah, I think about that a lot with some of these directors. Varda's another one,
Hmm.
and maybe like Truffaut a little bit. I think
Hmm.
it must be great to live in that head. Like, okay, you're world famous, you're making a living, people like your movies, but it's gotta be wonderful to be you.
Hmm. Yeah,
To
and
to
your view on it.
yeah, to have these ideas to create something like that. You've got your tortured artists and you've got your people who are at play in their minds and able
Hmm.
to translate these beautiful things. I think that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
But I like this one because it snuck up on me that it would be great for us to talk about. It was a surprise to me the first time I saw it, and
Hmm.
I've always had a fondness in my heart for it just because of what it does promise for the future and what it shows us about, like I said, one of our favorite directors. For our next episode, we're going to go somewhere completely different. We're going to go to Brazil. crime world in Brazil. Really fascinating film. Great find. Can't wait to share it with you.
Thanks for listening. You can find us and more of our links at psychotronicsisters.wordpress.com.
Come into my den, said the spider, etc.